Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. It's Mallory with Made by Mandy and Mal. Today we're going to be making this super cute tissue cover. Let's go! This tissue cover is made from aluminum, so we're basically just going to treat it like a regular tumbler. I prepped it using my final sand, so it's ready to go. This top portion is where the tissue will come out of, so it's kind of counterintuitive. You have to remember that the bottom is the bottom, and it doesn't look like the bottom because I'm used to working with cups. So anyway, we aren't going to base paint this. We are going to wrap it in vinyl. We're using this really cute kind of rustic white wood pattern I got from DonkeyCraftVinyl on Etsy. They are one of my favorite places to get my pattern vinyl, and I will have their shop name in the description below, so be sure to check them out. The way I'm applying this is the same way I apply pattern vinyl to all my tumblers. I will link a video somewhere in here that goes over my entire process on getting a really good full vinyl wrap on your cups. I'm going to cut off any excess, and then I'm going to trim that edge just to make sure that it lines up a little bit better and that we don't have too much overhang on our seam. So if you can see this little raised portion, I'll zoom you in so you can see where that little ridge is. I'm going to cut just next to that. I don't want to cut it right on the ridge because I don't want to risk having any stainless steel, or I guess aluminum, poking through. So I cut right next to that little line. You can definitely cut on that line if you're confident in your cutting skills, but as I've shown in previous videos, I can't really cut very straight. So I cut a little bit to the side. I'm trimming off any excess vinyl that we have at the bottom of our tissue holder, and I'm doing this the same way that I would finish up the top rim of a cup. I trim off the major excess, and then I go around with my knife at an angle to get any little stragglers that are hanging over. Next, we're going to base paint the top of our tissue holder, and I'm using Coastal Sage from Rustoleum. I'm going to paint all of that metal that is still exposed, and I'm also going to bring my paint down just a little bit onto that pattern vinyl area because we're going to do a waterfall kind of ombre effect with our glitter, and I want to make sure I have a really good base coat for that glitter and kind of a template for how far I want my ombre to go. I let my paint dry about an hour, and once it was dry, we're ready to apply our glitter. For our glitters, I'm going to be using 3 different colors, and I'm just going to mix them all together before I put them on the cup. I'm using Stuck With You, Audrey, and Gemini, all from PDB Creative Studio. These are all really pretty, like aqua teal colors. So I'm just going to add a little bit of each color into this medicine cup, mix them up really well all together, and then apply that to my cup. I love doing this with my glitters. I love creating my own little custom mixes. It allows for a lot of uniqueness in your designs, and you can make some really beautiful dimensional colors just by mixing them all together. This is what our mix looks like. Holy moly, I am obsessed with it. I'm gonna definitely have to mix more of this and keep it in my own little arsenal. Now that we've got our glitter mixed, we can add our epoxy. We're going to take less than 1 milliliter of epoxy and spread it onto this tissue holder. Just how we would on a cup, we're going to apply our glitter using the epoxy method as always. It's my favorite way to apply glitter, but you can definitely use whatever method you like to use best. And I only applied it to just about where our paint ends because I don't want the glitter to go all the way down to the bottom of this tissue holder. I really want to keep it just where that paint is, so I didn't put the epoxy all the way down to the bottom. I don't know if you can see the areas where it's kind of shiny and then where it goes dull. So just put your epoxy where you want the glitter to stick to. If you put epoxy on the whole thing, glitter is gonna find its way down there. So the way I'm applying this glitter is kind of like a waterfall ombre. We're doing basically half of an ombre and we're not doing the other color. So I started really heavy at the bottom, which is the top, and then I started to hold my cup really far back, like so far back it's out of frame, and then just lightly shaking my cup to get a little bit of glitter fallout and letting it get lighter and lighter as we get to the bottom of this tissue holder. So you don't want to just dump your glitter on and then you'll end up with this like stripey kind of deal. You really want those colors to feel like they fade out as you get to the bottom of the tissue holder. I keep wanting to call this a cup, so if I call it a cup, just know I'm talking about the tissue holder, okay? After I let my glitter layer cure, I did 2 coats of epoxy to seal this in. I'm using CCDIY Fast Set Epoxy. After that second coat cured, I sanded it all down to make sure it was smooth. And now we're going to apply our decal. I created this decal. It will be available in my SVG shop, which is linked in the description below. It does come with the offset. So I'm going to apply the offset first, and I'm going to use the hinge method to apply this. So I took my backing off and then I put it back on. I really lined up the top of my decal the best I could with the edge of the backing that is straight to make sure that I could get this on as straight as possible. And then I realized I didn't have anywhere for my transfer tape to stick to, so I cut off the edges of that backing and left a little piece of transfer tape hanging off so I could apply this using the hinge method. Once the offset is on, I can apply my main little decal, and I'm going to apply word by word how I always do because that's the easiest way for me to get everything lined up as good as I can. If there are any small pieces you still need to weed or anything that you forget, just how I did with that little spot between the B and the L, you can always weed it once it's on your cup or whatever you're making. So if you have something that's super small and intricate, you can just apply the design to your cup or tissue holder and then weed it once it's on there to give you a little bit more stability and prevent things from getting stuck or ripping out or, you know, any other weeding mistakes that you could make with those small intricate designs. So here is what it looks like with our decal applied. I'm going to put this right on my turner and seal it with a coat of epoxy. I'm still using CCDIY fast setting epoxy, and I'm taking about maybe 20 milliliters on this and just sealing that vinyl in right away. Once that coat of epoxy cures, we are ready to clean up our cup before we add our final coat on there. So we've got our decal sealed in. What we want to do now is take care of that bottom rim and make sure that we have a small little line of aluminum exposed so that our epoxy has something to adhere to. I'm taking a 100 grit sanding block and sanding at about a 45-degree angle on that rim to expose that small line of aluminum. I'm going to wash it with dish soap and water and then dry it off really well. And as you can see, it's like barely noticeable, that small little line of aluminum, but that's going to be enough for our epoxy to adhere and we won't get any lifting or bubbles or cracking, anything like that. You really want to make sure you get a good seal on anything you're making. This is not such a huge deal because it's not a cup that somebody's going to be like drinking out of, but still you want to do things right. Once we've got that done, we're going to go in with our final coat of epoxy. I'm using CCDIY artist resin for this, and once it's all cured, we're all done. Here is what it looks like all finished, and now I'm gonna grab some tissue and show you what it really looks like all finished. I got my cylindrical boxes of tissue on Amazon. They didn't have it in any of the stores near me, so that's where I got it. But basically, you just take this and slide it right over the top. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Hopefully you enjoy this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel for new videos every Tuesday and Saturday. And thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.